Hello, friends, and welcome to Investing in Cannabis. I'm your host, as always, Brandon David. Last week, we hosted the Elevate conference in beautiful Oakland, California. It brought together 700 plus founders, investors, and people that just genuinely wanted to be inspired by the industry. I hosted the day as well as did a handful of talks, and we're going to release those talks. Today's episode is a fantastic panel with some of the best founders in the industry. We tried to put together kind of a cross-section of different cannabis businesses. You're going to learn a lot, guys. Thanks for being with us. Tune in, listen up, get acquainted.
So next up, we're going to have a founders panel. So we thought about if this day is for founders, if it's for startups, what do they want to hear? They want to hear from founders that are in the weeds, that are in the shit, building these businesses every day. We've tried to create a good cross-section of different companies from you to learn from a little bit today. A good portion of them are my friends. They've been on the show before. So super excited to do that. Let's get it started bringing them on out here. Cassandra of MJ Business Daily. Great to meet you.
Me too.
Have a seat. Geoff of Tradiv, and Sai of Headset. How are you?
Good, Brandon.
So one of my favorite things to do is put founders on the spot a little bit. I think a true founder can tell about their company, can say what their company does in like one sentence. Let's start at Sai. Just tell us what Headset is.
Sure, so Headset is market intelligence for the cannabis industry. And essentially what we're trying to do is take all the guesswork and the assumptions out of building a cannabis brand by giving people in the industry or even outside the industry that are looking at the cannabis space good actionable insights about what's actually selling, from the product to the brand to the segment to the category and so on. So really illuminating what's going on, what's working, what's not, finding trends and so on.
Awesome.
Geoff?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Well, first off, thanks for having me out here. You guys are great, and I got good energy of founders in here, so I love it. But real quick, you can tell that the founders can spurt it out real fast here. But Tradiv, we're an online wholesale marketplace for the cannabis industry. So we connect the dispensaries with the cultivators, the processors, all on an online platform. And so what we've done is we've streamlined the process of ordering and sourcing and made it very transparent to get extremely good product from point A to point B without all the hassles, 100 phone calls, and you name it that everybody has to go through just to find a couple strains to fill their shelf and get back to doing what they do best.
Awesome.
And at Marijuana Business Daily, according to Inc., I am apparently the high priestess of marijuana business intelligence. The nutshell of what we do at Marijuana Business Daily is provide that unbiased, completely journalistic approach to what's going on in the industry and what the business owners need, the business managers need, the investors need to run and manage their businesses most effectively.
Well said. So Cassandra, I'll start with you. Since you have started MJ Biz Daily, there is a lot of mainstream media coverage. CNN, Sanjay Gupta, my own show, it's everywhere, right? I'm on the same level with Sanjay, by the way. So, as this progresses, as it's more and more in the news, how do you guys stay relevant?
We stay relevant by really focusing on the business side of this. We are a completely business-to-business oriented publication, and not just publication, but our event, our fact book, all of the work we do is entirely focused on that business-to-business marketplace and helping those business owners connect with each other and find the tools, resources, partners that they need. And we do so in, again, a completely journalistic way. And journalism is, taking a lot of hits these days in American society. And, one of the things that we are able to do, in part because of the other things we do, such as the conference, we're able to keep that journalistic independence on our editorial side. We're able to fund that and maintain that independently so that you guys have that really reliable go-to source for what you need.
Got it. So given that you're in the media space, you are a cannabis-focused publication, but you might not have some of the challenges associated with starting a cannabis business, right? Would you agree with that, or tell us a little bit about
yes and
cannabis-specific?
No. Sure. Any ancillary is going to be a step removed from some of those risks that are inherent in the cannabis industry, whether it's the Schedule I risk, whether it's challenges due to banking and things like that. That said, we have had accounts shut down. We have been denied leases simply because of the name on the door. That stuff still happens to us, even in the ancillary space. Anybody who is coming into the cannabis industry has to be completely aware that this could touch you. Less likely on the ancillary side, but absolutely still something you need to be very aware of.
Do you see it changing?
Act of Congress and all that, which is unlikely to happen in the current environment. It will, and it is changing. There are banks serving the industry now. They're not very public about it, but they are. We did find great office space. You just have to dig a little deeper. It's just
a little harder. One more challenge.
It's absolutely, and as you guys heard earlier, it's hard, and there's no sugarcoating that. It is hard, but it's worth it.
Thanks. All right, Geoff, we'll move to you. You've had some really early success with Tradiv in Colorado. I know that you just launched in California.
Yeah.
How long ago did you launch in California?
About 4 weeks ago.
About 4 weeks ago. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you learn from Colorado? What are you applying here in California?
We really learned early on the power of boots in the field, and just kind of getting into data and just understanding, narrowing down who do we need to go after first, the low-hanging fruit. And then the ones that, platforms are just like Uber or Airbnb, they sometimes go in levers. All of a sudden we have a massive amount of sellers, so then we got to even that out. And if you're not, if you don't take a very strategic and well thought out approach to your sales approach and your sales goals, the flow isn't going to happen. So we learned that in Colorado early on, and we were talking backstage. Colorado was it was a different beast actually, because I tell the story of me. It was almost impossible to find the sellers, but we could find the buyers. So literally in Colorado, my sales guy and I were driving around areas that we knew were cultivators, were with our noses out the car, doing what founders do best and getting it done, and so we learned that, and so we applied a lot of the sales tactics and email blasts and just your classic non-traditional or traditional marketing tactics. Applied that to California, and we grew a lot quicker on the grow side. Now we're trying to even out, and it's a constant. You got to keep your thumb on the pulse and use your 2 ears.
Got it. I just want to give a little color to exactly what they do. So this is an online marketplace, sort of like an Etsy or something like that, where you can dispensaries can locate growers or manufacturers and buy in pretty large quantities and have it delivered. What's an average basket size for Tradiv these days?
Typically, it sits about 10 to 15 pounds average. It'll skew sometimes depending on large purchases for trim, for use for extracts, edible, that side of the world. So, but typically we'll see anywhere from 10 to 15.
And then you actually move that product to the next location, correct?
Yeah, so it's very much the entire B2B ecosystem, and so I always like when I'm doing the demos, I say let's get in the minds of the retail buyer, the dispensary, and the old school way is a guy showing up in a backpack, and then you've got a line out the door, and that's not efficient. You need to be serving your clients, your patients, and so Tradiv, you can come on, the purchasing agent can come on. Let's say you want a couple units of Bruce Banner. A matter of about 6 clicks, you get that to your the transaction happens. It pings both seller and buyer, and then we get it from point A to point B. So it takes out a good chunk of what a lot of these dispensary owners, the million things they're going through. We're just trying to make their life simpler and streamline this entire logistics side of things.
So it's certainly simpler, but not without risk. Right? I mean, we're talking about touching the plant or not touching the plant.
Certainly.
You're moving large amounts of product. That's not a secret to anyone here.
No.
How do you navigate the different laws and states and by county and everything? I mean, what have you learned about that process?
Certainly, attorneys are our best friends. We want to be the prevention side and doing our due diligence and making sure we're, although we all play in a gray market, you got to be on top of everything that you can. Cross your T's, dot your I's, because at the end of the day, it's still federally illegal. And so we want to make sure we're doing everything that we can in the municipalities that we're operating in until we get the act of Congress, as we always say in the industry. So, it can be dangerous as well. There's people out there, at large quantities, and we all have to deal in the cash side of business, and so when you have to deal on that side of the world, it brings a lot of danger to it. So you really got to be very careful and preventative.
Your legal bill must be insane.
Yeah, we got a high one, just like everybody in the industry.
I guess so, yeah. Cy, let's move to you briefly. So Cy, I love Cy's story because he's one of the few founders in cannabis that has a really successful exit with Leafly, which, congratulations, that's a product that all of us use.
Thanks.
Fairly regularly. So since you started Headset, there's a lot of players that have come into the data dispensary space. It's kind of crowded these days. Why is Headset going to win? Why are you guys the ones to get it done?
Yeah, I think some of it is our pedigree in the industry. Being around for quite some time really does go a long way. It opens doors. So when we call and say, we're from Leafly, we're now doing this market intelligence, you get the right people on the phone often, which is very helpful. We also have some really interesting products. So our first product that we introduced to the market was our business intelligence platform. So it's designed for retailers and dispensaries to better understand what's going on with their own internal data. Right now they struggle to get clear insights out of their point of sale systems. It's kind of a common thread. If you ask any dispensary and any dispensary owners in here, everyone's a little upset with their point of sale systems as far as the reporting aspect. So we really streamline that for them. So we provide a real value for these retailers and dispensaries right out of the gate in a new market where we don't necessarily have a sizable enough of aggregate sales data to deliver market intelligence. And then from there, we start to get more and more retailers and dispensaries, and we can see what's happening across all the stores, and then aggregate that data up, and then provide a market intelligence platform for those regions. So I think it's kind of our go-to-market. Having that product really helps. Having the market intelligence and the business intelligence product, they're able to kind of communicate with each other. So that really drives a lot of adoption because you have product manufacturers and vendors that are now working with the retailers almost directly because they're able to see some data directly from the retailers when the retailers opt them in. So there's a lot of good kind of synergies there between the brands that really help drive adoption of Headset. And it's almost turned vendors into evangelists for the platform, where they're going out telling retailers, hey, you should be on Headset because I can help support your business by making sure you have enough inventory at all given times. And the retailers will sign up, and then they'll opt in more product manufacturers to that, and it kind of snowballs. So that's a real critical piece of what we're doing, and it's really driving a lot of adoption of the platform.
Got it. How important have those lessons from Leafly been? I mean, I know you have largely the same team. How important is that to bring that over? I mean, do you get like a huge head start in this?
Yeah, especially we worked a lot with dispensaries and retailers because that was one of our core competencies at Leafly was the dispensary locator. So we spent a lot of time with them and really understanding kind of their gaps and their needs. So that really did go a long way into kind of helping us understand what we need to be building to market fit essentially. When you start a new company, it's all about testing hypotheses and making sure that you can validate it and that the market needs the solution that you're providing. So we kind of had a really good idea already from working with Leafly and kind of hearing from dispensaries. Everybody wanted data. Everybody wanted numbers because they were designing products, they were running businesses, and they just didn't have good numbers to kind of validate that stuff. So we gave us a good head start there. And then, some of the nuances of the industry, it's an interesting space to say the least, and every market's a little different. California's different than Colorado, is different than Washington, different than Arizona, and so on. So kind of having that good picture of what to expect as we go to each market has really helped.
I want to talk a bit about the funding environment. Your second time around, and you said people return your calls, but everybody wants to give you money. So, what's that been like the second time out?
Yeah, a lot better. So with Leafly, it was next to impossible to raise any money. We were bootstrapped. This was 2010 when we started. It was medical cannabis only. No one really wanted to invest in this space. Or if they did, it was harder to find them. We met Privateer along the road. They had raised some money. They kind of had a similar vision and mainstream approach to cannabis, so it made a lot of sense for us to kind of work together, given the environment at the time. With Headset, though, starting this last year, so we started in June of last year, it's just a different picture. Obviously, coming off of a success like Leafly really does help, and to kind of have that track record goes a long way. But I think that the fact of the matter is that there's just more capital out there. It's not at the level of other, traditional just tech. It's still a little harder. When we fundraise, we do talk to traditional VCs, but sometimes it feels more exploratory on their part.
They have like that vice clause, no porn, no weed, like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Not to mention, because of the fragmentation of the market, traditional venture capital wants, big exits, and to get that you need scale, and to get scale you need to be able to tackle every market. So being an ancillary company does help with that. We're able to kind of scale out across markets. It's not the easiest thing. Like you have to deal with the Tradiv. It's nuanced. Each market, different brands, different products, and so on. But I think kind of being in that position has helped with fundraising, and then having kind of a success with Leafly has really helped as well.
Yeah. Geoff, tell us a little bit about your fundraising experience. I mean, we talked a little bit about touching the plant, not touching the plant, and the division that a lot of investors make there. Have you come across that? Is that changing? Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, we just a little roadmap. We started out with Canopy Boulder, and so we moved the business to Boulder, Colorado, and really got our feet wet in a regulated market. Wanted to really test the hypothesis and see is it truly what people need, and then when we were able to get some traction and execute, we knew we had something, and so. We did $1 million for the seed stage to get the technology going and get the right people in the right place together, and then move forward with it. So we launched October 2015 with the platform, and quickly grew to a point where we thought, if we're going to do California or Oregon, we better go right back into a Series A to have the right resources to pull it off. And so, starting out as on the ancillary side, it's very it's not, I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier than actually touching the plant. And there's VCs playing, or just like he was talking about, they're looking at it and trying to make that is it a market, a scalable market yet? And so, we pitched quite a few VCs, but really tapped into the ArcView Group network, and really leveraged a lot of those relationships that we built through Canopy Boulder to continue into our Series A with what I would consider Uber angels, and then we have a member from the Sandhill guys, and so that was very helpful to really help us get get what I call the snowball going in fundraising. So.
Yep. Very cool. Yeah, our next panel we're going to talk about sort of that very early stage and incubators and everything, but obviously Geoff and Tradiv got tremendous value out of Canopy from the beginning, and that's what all these companies have gotten from Gateway as well. So Cassandra, I know that you guys have chosen never to raise money for MJ Biz Daily. Congratulations on that, by the way. Can you talk about, yeah, we can clap that up. That's cool. Can you talk about why? Why not?
Largely because we were able to. We were able to serve the market that we could see as it was developing. I mean, we started very early. We launched in 2010. The market was a completely different place back in 2010 than it is now. And at that time, the website was getting it done. And you can do that on a very small scale. We had previous business activities that we were able to fund this with. And by the time, and in that period of time when somebody would have looked seriously at funding this, kind of cute little publication over here, serving this crazy market that nobody really quite understood yet or knew where it was really feeling like it was going to go. By the time that section passed when we could have raised money, we didn't need it anymore. And it's as simple as that. And so if I had one piece of advice for the founders for the investors out there in the room, don't wait too long. Definitely know what you're getting your money into and feel confident about that. But understand that these companies, the right ones, are going to take off. And so if you want to get your money in there, you need to not wait until they already have that traction.
Very well said. Very well said. So what's next for MJ Biz Daily? What's next?
We're going to continue to serve this nexus of the entirety of the cannabis industry, where we are providing that central place where people can come for information, for networking, for business interactions. That platform that we provide. And whether this goes legal via executive action tomorrow, or whether it takes another 10 years, or whether it gets rescheduled, or whatever that is, we'll continue to be at that center place. I don't know where that is, but I can tell you that we'll still be there.
Got it. Geoff, same question. What's next for Tradiv?
Yeah, we're very much heads down and really focusing on executing here in California with that launch just rolling out about 4 weeks ago. We're having a lot of fun and making sure we're building that foundation with California. Tradiv stemmed out of Aaron was down in San Diego and I was in Santa Monica, and it's good to be back in our backyard. And we feel that the hub is California, and we want to build our house with that in mind, along with Colorado, and then jump into other very perfect states for us, like Oregon and Washington, and just. But we have to if we were to boil it down to mission number one, though, is we got to make sure that we gain major traction in California.
It's all about
and then
California.
We'll jump. Yeah, I'll say it 100 times. And so, but yeah, we have a perfect situation with LA and then San Francisco, Oakland, and Sacramento, that there's a good flow for us. And so from what we do, we want to make sure that we're right in the middle of it and do it right. And then we'll look into other great states. And but if we can figure out and build upon our template that we built in Colorado, then we're going to do it right and keep growing and hopefully eventually international. And so looking way down the future. So
Awesome. We'll wrap up with you, Si. What's next for Headset?
Yeah, so very similar to Tradiv and what Geoff's saying. Getting into the California market, we get a lot of inbound requests for data. California is what it's all about. So we're working as hard as we can to get a big enough footprint here to be able to provide that market intelligence and getting some traction. But that's our big focus, obviously expanding into other regions. So not just Washington, Colorado, and Oregon, but California and some of the other medical states as well. So that's a big driver of us right now. Also more partnerships, so getting Headset available in other platforms, like we just did. You might have seen the announcement with Massroots, so providing a lot of Headset services through their platform.
Isaac will be out here a little later today.
Excellent. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of value to be working with companies like theirs to provide Headset services within that platform. We're just motivated to get the data in the right hands, wherever they get the data, where they see it. It's not as important to us if it's through Massroots, if it's through MJ Biz, doesn't really matter to us. We just want people to be able to use the data to drive their business.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, guys. It's been a pleasure to have you. Great learnings. You guys learned something? Was it good for you?
So did you like the show? Because this stuff costs money. Like, we got lights, Jacob the director, Eric the producer. We'd like to be able to fly our guests out here. We go to Seattle. We're going to go to Colorado soon. All this costs money, guys. So if you like this show, if you give a shit about cannabis, head over to patreon.com/investingincannabis. It's a great platform where you can donate, $5, $10 a month, totally anonymously, so no one will know that you like weed or that you're supporting us. But if you listen to this show, if you watch it, if you care about it, just give $5, $10 a month, and that really does matter. It really does help us out. So thanks so much for doing that, and I hope you continue watching and you enjoy what we're doing here.